Sonic Earth is a framework, basically, they've been developing to explore how planets' environmental data, like temperature, humidity, air quality, can directly influence musical structure in real time. That's what's. This work is inspired by idea of acoustic ecology as the main main cap. Works that has been done from like Schiffer or Barry Trox in the 70s especially. But it extends them to an algorithm and a performative space where data streams become part of composition itself, guiding both the electronic sound and the human performer, made together these two things. So let's see how the system overview it works. The system processes environmental data through a 4-stage pipeline that turns real-time inputs into dynamic soundscapes. The first step is data acquisition and parsing. Environmental parameters are retrieved through live APIs from satellites and these things, like Open Weather, Open Meteo, and more other, because there are a bunch of them. Then I parse them in MaxMSP, then we'll see why, and using custom dictionaries to parse all this data. And all these values like temperature, humidity, CO2, particulate matter, UV index, there are like 30 data of that, are then processed in Super Collider. Then we see why. So we are using basically two programming platforms for achieving this purpose. The idea is to generate different sound identities. Maybe someone of you is familiar with Sound Objects, is from Pierre Schiffer, Acoustic Music. The sound object is not has no context, it's just itself. So here we need a context. So we are working with sound, but sound identities. These sounds act as real sound identities. Then we see it. And then, so we have atmospheric layers, gravitational tones, molecular textures like water, things like that, and health-related noise structures, planet health. Each object is modified by perceptual parameters. For example, altitude, its brightness, also the day-night cycles, it's more dark or lose some energy. And finally, we have a cultural layer also, because it's very important how we human interact with the environment. So we have an environmental with sound identities and a cultural layer that interacts with this environment. That is the things that interest to me. I'm a sound artist and not a scientist, so this is mainly a sound art framework. Also, if it uses a lot of technology, of course. Let's see now going in deeper and see how these identities are structured. We start with fundamental frequency mapping. You know, in music, we can have a tonic, or we may not have. I decided to work with a tonic, like also Schaeffer idea of tonic of the world, but not using a sound, but using energy, the energy of the Earth. And so the rotational speed of the Earth mapped to the latitude will be our tonic frequency note. And above that, we can build all our mental and compositional structure. So we have something to work on. Musically, in translating lower frequency, in the polar region because the tangential velocity is lower. And we have higher frequency to the equator because the energy is higher. This is a linear map between E1 and E3. So since this work is for performative also, so it can interact with real performers, we see later on, this is cool for double bass, lower notes, or bass, lower notes. So we have a linear mapping range in these things. So the gravitational frequency act both as a music and energy anchor. We have these two. And here it reflects the Earth rotational energy while keeping the system harmonically guided. That's the idea. Now let's see what are above the gravitational, the sound identities are built on. Then we'll hear all of this, and the concert, this will be performed, of course. Once the fundamental frequency has been defined through the Earth rotation, it becomes the foundation for a family of algorithmic sound objects. It's each representing a specific environmental condition. It is my English fine enough, reading like this, okay? Because the atmospheric object translates wind and pressure in broad filter texture, the kind of sound you might associate with motion of the air, for example. Air is one sound identity. The gravitational field object uses FM synthesis, where temperature defines fundamental tone, creating the slow harmonic pulsation and give a peace sense of weight. The H2O object, water, representing water, the life, all these identities come from my mind, of course. So for someone else could represent something different. So what I'm explaining here is a workflow, a method, not a composition itself, which is a personal interpretation. The water use additive synthesis to represent humidity. Slightly detuned oscillators create gentle breathing pattern like molecular agitation. Rain and snow also are represented. They appear only if it is raining or it is snowing, of course. These are particular. Expressed through granular and formant synthesis, forming particles sound-like. Finally, the environmental health object reflects the overall ecological balance, increasing in dissonance and pollution. That's, we'll see it later. Together, all these objects form the algorithmic ecosystem of sonic Earth, a set of interdependent sonic identities that evolve continuously with real-time environmental data. That's the thing. So now we go through the interaction. Then we become all clear when we hear the composition going. The object translates environmental degradation into sound. This is not the standard EQE air quality value. It's a research I did by my own, getting a lot of atmospheric parameters like particulate, ozone, nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, aerosol. I normalized against WHO and US and NASA data, and then I check it up. I normalized, did, and check against the real systems, and it works. It gives us a value that represents a kind of health of the planet in that point. All this data is not, it's still a work in progress. So I'm not a biologist, so this is for musical reason, but it represents pretty well the health status. Conceptually, is the sound itself breathes harder under stress, And the EQE reflect environmental condition and influence all the identity. Then we have a cultural layer. So up to now, all the sound identities represent planets, but we add a cultural layer because we as humans live in this planet, and we interact with this planet and we interpret the planet musically. We live here, and so the cultural layer is very important for the performance and for creating a sound composition that is not an installation or a system. In this phrase, we have a kind that combines cultural and musical heritage to generate geographically defined sound object. The Earth, at the moment, I divided in 8 macro areas. Then it will be more, but for the moment, it's 8 macro plus the oceanic region, which is a macro area apart. If we are not in North America, South America, Oceania, we are in the sea. This represents its own macro area. The goal is not to imitate traditional music, but let local materials like scale and environmental condition influence the way the system works. So basically, we have a tonic frequency, a layer of sound identities against the frequency, air, molecular, water, etc. A cultural layer, so which frequency will perform these identities depends on the cultural layer. We have harmonic scales different from every macro region because it's our interpretation that we live here and we develop Western scales, pentatonics, African, etc. So it's called a kind of spectrocultural identity. The regional scale mapping is what the sound identities introduce as a perceptual human dimension. It connects, So we have regional tradition from different areas of the world, Pacific, Polynesian, and we have also a timbrical synthesis. This is a layer more. I can perform all this layer, of course, during the performance. The timbrical synthesis is like a timbre stamp and comes from Barry Trauck's ideas and also Schaeffer, like tuning of the earth, representing kind of timbrical cultural layer. For example, the bells in the Western part, like church bell, different from the bells from the Eastern. This, I did an FFT of this kind of sound, and I can perform this during the performance. So regional scales, pentatonics creates the things, timbre stamps, which I can create, cultural layer against all the other things. The EQE, the environment degradation, it creates inharmonics on all the system. So if we go in a place where quality, the health is bad, the systems tends to be detuned. The grades of the scale tends not to solve. The tuning of sense of different oscillators tends to not to stay in tune, and so on. So all the system is affected also by the environment, either the cultural and the other. And then we have another layer that is the acoustic layer, which is very, very interesting. I don't know if you know that platform is Apori. Apori is a sound platform where everybody can go on vacation, can record sounds and put on that platform. It's geolocalized. It's very nice. When I go on vacation, I always record sound instead of doing photograph, and that's why I don't have a wife anymore. And and that's rare, I know. and and I put on the Apory also this sound. On the Apory, I integrated the platform in the system so that I can in real time also grab some of these sounds and perform with live electronics. I did a bunch of electronics with Max, and so I can perform also these things together. So I have a lot of instruments. And at the end, we have also the human being, the performative layer. Up to now, all the systems is performed by me, layering the things that we see. But also we have a live performer, which is very, very important for me because this is a work in progress. This is just a zero stage. I have a bunch of implementation which I'm working on. But very important is the performer because we are human, and the human being we use to perform with the ecosystem. At the moment, there is a graphic real-time interface which I created for performers, and at the moment I can use a vocal like a soprano, mezzo soprano would be fine, and like a breathing instrument, like a flute or a saxophone. The vocal performer reads the upper line. On the bottom line, we have like a harmonic layer for both performers. We can see the rotational hair, the fundamental frequency, how the system, the health, this will be more blur. And on the upper, we have for the vocal. I made a research on ancient poems on each of the macro regions, like ancient Indians poems or Latin poems, transliterated. And these words come recall when we go in a certain area. It's part of a cultural layer. And also I fragment all the words, and there will be more vocals or more consonants depending if the air is dry in that moment, whatever. So the singer, the vocalist can read this or sing this word. There will be more consonant because maybe we are in the desert and the air is very dry, sorry. And she knows, or if she must go on extended technique, more unpitched or vocal. That depends where we are. For the flautist, we have a constellation. She can see more or less the notes that the identity number one is doing, but she don't necessarily have to follow it. It's just an indication, and like for the singer, she knows in a technical, but it's more easy than to hear than to speak. And at the end, we have the conductor layer. This is my work. I create my interface, what I need, with OSI Touch or whatever, and then I can perform and create all my performance, adding layers, mixing layers, and also giving the performer things. So this is the workflow, the general workflow. As I said, this is the overall architecture of Sonic Earth. The workflow is divided in two complementary layers. Problem-solving layer. This is very, very important because I'm not an engineer programming. I'm an artist, composer. And so functional programming is what I need to have an idea that is musical, that is artistic. So the biggest thing, the main thing is to divide problem solving from composition. That's why I use two different systems. Max MSP, don't know if you're familiar with that, which I handle all the main problem I have. That's graphic interface, navigation, API data, parsing, formatting, dictionaries, everything I need. I transform everything in OSC data, messages, and then in Super Collider, which is my compositional tool, the tool that I use normally, I do all the composition. Also in Super Collider, I divided problem solving, so parsing data, OSC, state in its own classes and routines, so that I can have just very simple real-time live coding routine. So all the system is in live coding. And I just have two hands, so I will more perform with controllers, but I can also move the code if I want in all the system. That's the overall system. As I say, this is not, this is just a way of sonificate the reality. I'm doing now with a planet, can be done with anything else. Biology, microscopic beings, aliens, whatever. And it's just a way to understand, to try to interact with reality. Instead of doing years of to a psychologist that cost a lot of money, that's what I do to interact with reality. It's a living composition, and the best thing to do is to show the system, hear the system. Tonight will be performed much more. Okay, so now it will be a little bit more explained. So let's go here and let's see the thing. Here is the interface, and I navigate through interface. This is the API of Google Earth. I will basically get coordinates to a system, which is that's. I think the problem is the zoom. Let me, because okay. Okay, just a mouse problem. Okay, so this is the interface and this is the composition. Okay, this is all Super Collider divided from the thing. So let's see how it works. Let's start from here. We get coordinates at the campus, and it is raining at the moment. We can hear it's raining and also see this little tick tick we are hearing. So I just show you the identity and then we make a tour and I don't talk anymore. Let's see. This is the fundamental frequency. At the moment, it's pretty high. It's 82 Hertz. It's fast because here we are close to the equator. So we have energy. I show you also the score so that we can have a lecture on that. This is the interactive score. We have here speed. Here we have tonal note on the frequency, so the performer knows more or less where it is. And I can give the vocal when I want. This is an ancient poem from Asian. And here I can give the constellation for the flautist or whatever. That's in the case we have a performer, unless here someone is a singer and wants to. No. Okay. So this is H2O. It represents the water. Okay. As you see, it's a little bit out of tune and not to solve to its tonic. That's because the quality we have here at the moment is so low. It's a little bit red. This is the health parameters, okay? We are getting CO2, many parameters here in this moment. Here we have a second identity, which is even more untuned. And this identity is directly connected to the quality. So it represents really how a game goes. This for me, it's all performative. I can perform all these things. Here we have precipitation, which appears only if there are precipitation. Rain, it's like this because it is raining. I have snow, but it's not snowing, so it's not the end. Here's the cultural layer, the one that is the timber stamp. We have also the air, but it's not windy, so we are not hearing almost anything. And then I have added, it's not in the paper because every day I add something new. We have also a pulse, say a pulse identity. And it's directly connected to the gravity.
Up and down, which layer is that?
Pardon?
Okay.
This is the fundamental, the basic layer of the gravitational hair. The pulse also is directly connected to that, to this.
It sounds the most like some beat or salad.
No, yes, the melody are the other layers. H2O, this is the water.
Whoa.
These represent the water. It's sine waves that are on beats. It depends how the quality is, the air. Now you hear that are not perfectly on tuned. That's because the air quality is not very good. If we go somewhere in another place in the planet where the air is good, this will be more tonal. Okay, it's also how it goes against the fundamental. It's not only the tuned, but it depends also how it is on the fundamental. It uses a regional scale from Asia, so it's a pentatonic.
Oh,
Okay.
Scale
A scale is a pentatonic. It's different. If you go in Europe, it will be a little bit different. Maybe if it got to a fifth grade, it doesn't tend to resolve to the tonic because the quality so-so. If the quality is better, then maybe the cadence will be more. Everything is connected to be more or less tonal. This is the direct quality identity. This one is against this one, or depends on the health and on the quality. This is the rain. This is the cultural layer, FFT in harmonic from here. Air, we are not here, and pulsation. So let's do a little tour and let's see. And let's see. Yeah, we are at maximum volume. Okay. Of course, absolutely. The capital of?
Mongolia.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. More or less
I
here.
used to live here. Yeah, so in Ulaanbaatar, it's the coolest and most polluted capital.
Okay. We can also go direct if you give me the name.
So you can.
Or.
Yeah, it's ULAAN. If you look right there. Yes, it's the only city in Mongolia.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Down right.
Here.
A little to the right. Directly right.
It's that.
Okay. Thank you, my. Okay. So we go here. It's cold.
Is it snowing? It's very cold.
It's cold.
Yeah.
That's why everything is low, you see.
Yeah.
But from what I can hear, the quality is really
The
good.
quality right now is.
It's really good because it's everything is tonic. It's nice.
Yeah, that's true. You're currently not in the city.
Oh,
So
okay.
once you get to the city, it's in a valley, and there's all this coal that people burn that stays in the air. So the ppm2 levels are like at the peak of the California wildfires.
Oh, I
the
see.
California wildfire air quality.
This is the city?
Yeah, it's something like it's even more. Yeah. Yeah.
This.
Further.
Oh, we can just write it down. What's
Yes, ULAAN.
UL?
There, it's the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's see.
Still gonna be cool. Oh, the cold stuff.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Sometimes I check these things when we hear. So, for example, I can call directly here, and so that I can check. Oh, there you see, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But if we go maybe here,
Yes.
maybe here looks like this is normal app.
Curious why this other does. Probably a settlement.
Probably here it's worse. Let's see. Oh, it's not so bad.
Yeah, most of
You see, everything is changing because there are the things. Okay, let's go, I don't know, to Africa to see something completely different. Yeah, like here. And that's quality is always bad in Africa. I don't know why. Probably it's very dry. Can you see the water is fast because temperature is high. Its decay is very small because humidity is very low. When humidity, we have long, when it's small, we have this kind of sensation. And we have our cultural layer that is much more, unfortunately here the volume is low, but tonight I will. Okay. And if we, for example, go to Apori now, let's go to Apori and see if someone records some sound here and integrate it in the composition. Code. Let's put coordinates here. Then again, for the live performance, I have mouse and controllers and everything, because otherwise it's okay. So here in the desert, not very much people record things, but okay, we have we have something here. Or here, I don't know which is the closest point. Okay, Luxor, whatever. Okay, so I have a little controller here also. Better because with all this zoom and all things, output device, loop back farm. Okay, all right. Let's see now. And I can perform with this thing. Of course, during the performance, maybe I go down with the other identities. The singer or the flautist may interact with this, for example. Maybe I turn on the flautist, she has her constellation, like that, and so on. So we're done. I think time is on, and so we can simply end up to the North Pole, for example, just to end up here. Wind.